In this video, we're going to focus on the chart.js, basically the quadrant plugin in chart.js. And this is a very nice plugin because chart.js has a sample plugin as well. And I've showed you one, and this time I want to show you another one, which is the quadrant plugin. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy that code, we're going to put it in here, we're going to make it work, and then afterwards we're going to play around with it a little bit. So let's start and explore this. So the first thing what I want to do is, of course, getting the CDN. So because right now you can see here we are blank. So what we want to do here, first of all, I don't even want to get this one. I just go here and getting started and grab this code here, this link. I'm going to put the link here and I'll put it here up. And then later on we have all the script code needs to be here down. Make sure you put it here down. Starting here. Alright, so to do this, we have this now here. The only thing I want you to do is to go here on samples. Once you click on samples, you scroll down to the bottom. And then you can see here some plugins. Then you can see here the chart area border, which I've covered in another video. And now I'm going to cover quadrants. Alright, so the quadrants is quite interesting because the quadrants has some extra functions, which are the colors here at the background. And that's nice. This is a unique design. Alright. To do this, we have this one here, but I'm going to give you some hints before we will continue on. You can see here there are multiple blocks here, but of course not everything is fully in here. We have some parts missing. If you want to view the full part, click on this. But I challenge you to figure out here, and I'm going to show you as well step by step. So here, first of all, you probably know the 3 blocks. And this is the 3 blocks I always maintain, and you should use them as well. So we have the setup block. We have another block which is called the configuration block. And finally we have the init or initialization render block. There might be one more here because basically here we even have a plugin. So if there's a plugin, I'll just put it just below the setup block. So we say here the plugin block in case we have that. Alright. So here, let's start with the beginning. Let's go to the data, which is our setup block. And you can see here a lot of these numbers here, variables and the utilities. Don't pay attention on this. This is basically here down. However, it says here, let me show you, the utils file or utility file contains multiple helper functions that the chart.js sample pages use to generate chart. These functions are subject to change, including but not limited to breaking changes without prior notice, meaning they might change this file without you even notifying it, and then you might be breaking changes. You, of course, you don't want to use this. This is just for their sample here because they code probably a lot the same structure, so this is for them efficient. For you, don't use that. Make your own data. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, copy this. I'm going to put this in here. We're going to paste it in here. Alright, we've got that one. Later on, we're going to clean it up. Next one is, well, let's try the plugin. That's a nice one. Alright, we have the plugin block. There we are. Final one basically is the config block that we have here. Click on configuration. Copy all of that. There we are. And now you can see what are we missing. Oh, I see I have this double. So I'm going to remove this. I don't know how that may happen, but that's alright. So we have this here. We have even the plugin has a quadrant name. So you can see here the plugin block is called quadrant. So we can say here plugin quadrant block. Alright. Finally, the initialization block. Alright. Make sure you have your chart.js part here above. And I'm saying that here because this, if you don't have that there, you will get a breaking or you get an error, which sadly happened to me sometimes because I didn't pay attention. But okay, in here, what are we going to do here? Well, this will be the my charts. If I'm not mistaken, did I have that here? Oh, not even. As you can see, I went way ahead of myself. Here we're going to create a div class chart box. Here, and this chart box will have a CSS width of 700 pixels to ensure that we have a fixed width. And here, you can say your canvas ID equals my chart. I'm giving it my chart. You can give it anything you want. But this is quite common also in the chart.js documentation, so that's why I'm using that. Here, what I do is dot chartbox class. Then we say here width 700 pixels. All right, save that. Now here down, let's start to work on this. My chart constant. Let me say here new, because we're going to make a new constructor. So a new chart with capital C, parentheses, pay attention, parentheses, not curly braces, parentheses here, because this is a constructor. A semicolon at the end. Here, document.get element by ID. And this will be, of course, our my chart ID, which is the canvas ID, comma. So we don't need to get here the get content 2D because it is already given. It understands it based of the constructor. So here, config. That's it. So if we save this, it should work. And if we look at it, you see your config here refers to this, and this here refers basically to the quadrant and also to the data. So that should be more than sufficient here to read everything. But if I save this, we might get some breaking errors because of the utilities. Open up developer tab, you can see, alright, utilities has not been defined or is not defined. So I'm going to clean up here. Let's clean up all of these codes here. So basically this here means data count 7, most likely you have 7 data points, random from -100 to 100, but that's alright. I'm going to just make very basic points. And this is a scatter chart, by the way. And I'm going to tell you why this is important. Alright, so we have data. We have the border here. Well, let's make this red first. Red. This one here. Red. And then here we also have this. I'll make this. Oh, this is second data set. I'm going to remove that one for now. Don't spend your time on this. Just only work on this. Alright, here, utility points, the data points. Remember, this is a scatter chart. How do you structure a scatter chart? Well, like this. We're working with X and Y coordinates. Look at this one here. Pay attention here. X and Y. As you can see here, these are the numbers. So let's work on that. Curly braces, then X, let's say 4, comma, Y, number 10. Alright, so I'm going to use here 7 data points as well. And then after that, I'm going to random them. Put a comma here as well. Comma, 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 and comma, comma. Alright. So we got this. And then let's do some random numbers here. 6, 9, -1, -4, -6, and then we have here again 3. Here, 9, -6. Well, we can do here 4, 3, -2, -5, I guess, and here let's do this on 7. Alright, we've got some random numbers here. We got this. Alright, so here there's no utilities here, and later on I will explain this one because this is really interesting if you really wanted to go deep understanding canvas. This can be very interesting. And here, do we have any utilities? Alright, you can see here the utils chart color red. Alright, so I'm going to give some different color because we already use it red here, and then it will be very hard to spot the differences. So I'm going to say here, orange, I guess. Instead of red, I'm going to use orange. Of course, this is a string. Let's delete this. Oh, here you can see green, blue, yellow. Everything else could just be maintained. Blue, green, yellow. Alright. Once I save this, let's see if we have a working model. There you are. Alright, so there we are. We have this working model that looks quite nice. A refresh. Alright, you can see it just maintains the same here. Main reason for this is because of the items here, the points. So we could move them more there, and then you will get this differently, or just reduce this one. The 9 could be maybe reduced to a lower number. Let's put this on 5, and we can do this one on 5 as well. And then probably we have a nicer balanced squares. Alright, we've got this here. Now we're done here. What I want to do here is basically, let's look at it. What we have. Alright, we've got all of this. We have the randomize. Okay, that's alright. We don't have this. We don't need this. But I think in GitHub, if you would click here on GitHub, you would see that there's a box for the random. I was expecting. Oh, sorry. You have to press on this GitHub here. So you would go directly link to the plugin Quadrants. So in here we have the plugins. You see the config. They have the actions. Alright, there's an action here. This is basically the one they have. Here they have the randomize of the numbers. For now, I will ignore this. Not important for now. I want to really focus on the core. And what is the core? This is more important here. All of these values here help you to do it, to understand how did they color all these boxes here. So let's start and explore that. Alright, so what is going on here? So you can see here in the before draw, it starts to grab certain values. The chart area where we can figure out what's the top, the left, top, right, and bottom. And then you have the scales, X and Y scales. We use the chart. And then here we get the point here. And what it says here is the following. Mid X equals 0, get pixel value. Alright, the reason why they call here mid X right now is first of all we should understand what is this. It looks for the center point basically, but the center point is not exactly in the middle. No, it is basically the first value of the scale here, which is the 0 index. So this is basically X index 0 in short. So let's say here console log, then we get the exact position of this. Alright, so if we do this, refresh, you can see here now what happens. This is the exact position. The exact position is this point here, x0, but also y0. So basically with this, you can start to count, and you can see here what it really does. Let's see what it does more here. It says here the middle or the center is this. Same with the y, center is y0. Exactly same. You will see that this is exactly the same value. Save this, refresh. Oh, sorry. Let's see if that's correct. No, I'm sorry. I'm even incorrect. It is basically here. This is supposed to be, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. 3 is for the x. Where is the y? It might be here. Alright, so well, what we can do is to start to explore this deeply before we even continue on. Because let's say here, if I say the item value here would be the following. Alright, so I was slightly struggling if this was correct, but it is correct, so let me explain why. So you have it as well, because I was somehow thinking and then miscalculating it. So first of all, you can see here, if I click the inspector, you can see 700 by 300 pixels. This is correct, 700 in width. So the first value in here is 359. So it will be somewhere in the center plus this space here. So if you add this, that's maybe 20 pixels and then everything else here. So that's the half, or 10 pixels here, and then this would be the half or the center of 700. So it's 350 pixels plus 10. That's approximately, so which is correct. Same story here. This one is, of course, the y value. The y value goes from up to down, meaning, or from top to bottom, meaning here, the height is 350 pixels. So somewhere, not in the center, it's slightly below the center. It is about 200 pixels, which is correct because it's 197. So maybe say, well, I'm still not sure. I'll show you the easiest way to do it, just to be sure, because this is the way how I also do it. I was just thinking about it, was I correct or not, but I was correct. So I'm going to change it here. And I'll say this one. I will say, instead of get pixel, I want to get the label. What happens now is I'll get a specific label that's matched with the y value. So if I refresh now, let me just go to our console. You'll see now the label of 0, which is correct because here is a starting point 0. So if I go 1 up, which is supposed to be number 2. So if I say here, the label, get label number 1 for y is number 1. Or sorry, not number 2, but number 1, which is of course correct because you're going up here. Alright, so this is basically how it works. Same story with the x value. So basically, because you have the scales here, that's how it works. Alright, so you have this, you have the understanding of this. You can now also double check if you have the right position, 0, 0 in this case, that's correct. So now let's start to study this code here below. So what is really happening here? So it saves first here, which is correct because you need to save all the data above here, so it stores it. Alright, so then what it does here in the, okay, here this is basically the color. Yes, fill style, meaning the color. And this is in the Quadrant block plugin, but this is what we call a shorthand. This is a shorthand. Shorthand, where is the shorthand referring to? To options here, top left, orange. So if I make this now pink, you will see here, of course, this will change it to pink. This is how you can connect them here with proper names, because in reality it's just basically the fill style that's being colored, but we give it another name so it's easy to read for you as the user or the program. Refresh, and now it becomes pink. Alright, so you can see this works fine. These are all these shorthands. So this is the fill, and you can do even here stroke if you want to have lines instead of a square. However, this is the most important one here. What it does is the following. It says you calculate the left, the top, and then the mid x, which would be the center of the x point, minus left and this. Alright, so what are you doing here? It's basically there are 4 digits here. Yes, in fill rect you have 4 parameters: x0, comma x of a y0, comma x1, comma y1. So what is the difference? I've talked about this in the gradient, and of course, to make sure, if you haven't seen that one, this is very important, so let me explain it again. x0 would indicate starting point of the, well, line shape, I guess. Starting point of the shape on the horizontal level. So that's left and right. Very important. So y0 would be starting point on the vertical level. That makes sense. Vertical level, and then that will be top and bottom. Next, then you have basically here 1, x1 and y1. This would be length of the shape in pixels. So why pixels? Because we are working here with a canvas, and the canvas is pixel based. Alright, so length of the shape in pixels on horizontal level, or on these horizontal level. So when we say a 10 pixels on this, we're putting a 10, it will mean it will start somewhere and then it will have a length of 10 pixels. Our shape right now is a fill, meaning it's a square, or it fills up, including the background color will be filled. So this is very important. And then y is the length of the shape in pixels on a vertical level, top and bottom. Alright, so you can see here now what's really happening. You can see here the first one is this one here. So let's see where it is. Left top minus left this, and this one was basically related to the top left. So top left is the color pink. Alright, so how it really calculates is this here. It will want to figure out this value here. So what it really does is the following. You can see here x1, where x0 is the starting point. Console.log. Let's visualize this with a number. It's left, and then what we can do is top as well. So why top? First of all, we get them from here in the chart area. Left would be the starting point at the left, anywhere here. But then we say left top would be this pixel here. But we need to know what is the exact pixel here, because let's look at it. Here, oh, if I click on it, it is not, you would say maybe, oh, it's just 700 by 350. No, that's not correct. The canvas is like that, but you can see there's some space here between. This is probably 10 or 20 pixel difference. So it's somewhere here. We need to figure out what's the exact point here. Alright, so we can do this, console log, and let's see, I'm going to hide these, we don't need this. Then refresh. Click on the console log, and you can see here now the values is 25 pixels. The first one is left is 25 pixels, and the top is 32 pixels. So left here at the very corner up, or basically left here, this is just only here, this where this space here is about 25.33 something, or 34 if you round it up. Alright, but here above, this one here is 32 pixels exact. So this goes 32 pixels down. So we're going to start here, and what we want to do is we want to calculate this length here and calculate this length. How will we calculate that? Well, we can calculate based on here. It is, as you can see here now, this is basically what happens. The x1 over x0, let's copy this here. This would be, this was 22 for 25.33. This one would be 32 exact. And this one is plus plus, alright, so there's something there, or 34, let's round it up. Because it was 33.99, alright. Then what you need to do is, basically this here, what's going on here? It will calculate the center of x here, and it will minus left. Alright, so let's see what this really does, and why is it doing this here. So let's check on that. I'm going to copy this, put it in here, and I will just hide this as well. What's the value we get? We get now this, that means 334. This is correct. Basically, the reason why we do the minus is basically we have this point here, which was, let's see here, the mid x. This we have that. Let's get the comparison so you understand. Oh, let's get the comparison so you have a full understanding of this. Refresh. All right. You can see what is the real difference here. Well, basically, it's the official point is 359. That's exactly here. But the what we want to do is we want to calculate the width. The reason why we want to calculate the width here in this case is because this is x1, the length of the shape in pixels on horizontal level. So what we need to do is we need to trim away or cut away this part here, because if you would go here, you get the full length. So we need to remove this space here. Let me show you so you have an understanding here. If I'm going to put in this here, there's only mid x, and I'm going to comment this out, or well, you can leave that, that's fine. Mid x, save that, you will see we are now overlapping this part. Or not even, I realized it starts here, but it will overlap here. If the blue would be gone, let's hide the blue color. That will be the top right, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to just put the top right here, away. And here as well, or I'll just leave this in here, that's alright, because this doesn't matter because we didn't specify the size of it. Refresh. Look what's happening. We're now overlapping here, and this is not allowed. We don't want to overlap on any other territory. We need to be only on here. This here is exactly that here, because if I put here left, this, if I put on 0, you'll see it's exactly that. And if I open up my canvas or my inspector, pay attention, you can see here now is exactly that. So this is basically why we're doing this. This is really, really useful to understand. Because once you know this, you can start to go deeper and deeper in drawing with the canvas. Alright, so we have this. So what about the mid y minus top? If you understand this, you probably will understand now the methodology, how this works, and probably all of these, because now we have the same matter or issue. Let's copy this, put in here, and then what was the value here? I didn't know what was the value. It was 334, right? Yes, that's 334 for the length here. 334. Later on, I will just copy this, put it in here, and you can see we have exactly the same design, except that I didn't round it up or down. So I would say here 334.16. I'm not very exact, so there might be some tiny space between there. However, my goal here is just to make sure you understand this. If you don't understand it, let me know, of course, in the comment section below. I'm trying to be very elaborate here. So we have this one here. Mid y minus top. So what is this and what is the difference between these two? Save this, refresh. You can see here the difference is mid y is starting somewhere at 197, which is correct. It was this point here. However, it calculates including this space here, which is probably about, well, if you're not mistaken, I think top was 32 pixels, and that's about 32 pixel difference here, as you can see here, which is correct. Because this is basically 32 pixels, as you can see, exactly this. So basically, here you can do this, and then we will have the value. Am I correct? Do I get the right value? Yes, because this is 109 if you do this, minus 32 would be, you can see here exactly the same, just 32 here, deducted, that's it. Alright, so now we have everything here. I guess this is very clear now. I'm going to copy this. What I'm going to do for here, comment this out, put it in here, and give it a new rectangle. Save this. You can see here now that we might have some tiny space around there. It's probably hard to notice or not even noticeable in this case, but this is basically what we did. We just had to calculate one position, and we are using here always the chart area top, bottom, right. Basically that's it. Although I realize here that maybe, well, oh no, that's okay. No need, because I thought maybe the height would be a solution. But the truth is the height is not a real solution here, because we need only these positions here. Because the height would get only the height of the entire item itself instead of the half section. However, this is basically how you could do it, and I hope this was very clear as well. You can see here it starts to repeat itself consistently, but then from a different position. So you can see here, let's see this one here, bottom left. Alright, the bottom left, it starts at left, and then it gets the mid y, and then the mid x minus left. And then it calculates here. So almost exactly the same, except in opposite direction or depending on where you are. So this is basically how you can use this, and I hope this was as clear as possible. If you have questions, put them in the comment section below, and I'll make sure I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in chartjs, check out in the description box the link directing to my chartjs course, where you can learn everything about chartjs. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.